versus the other aspects of Windows, if I had to guess. Our next one is build. We got an official date for build, and we know where they're going to be at going forward. It looks like, make sure I get the right dates for this. What did we say it was at?
It went to.
We're moving from Seattle to
San Francisco.
And we're going to be, I just want to make sure I get the dates right for everybody. There we go.
Well, I'll tell you.
We're running from June 2nd through June 5th, which is interesting. It's much later than it normally is. This is going to be right around the same time as, was it WWDC?
Yeah, it's around that time.
Usually Microsoft is one of the first ones out of the gate. And I know that, what do we have? Google I.O. is now going to be.
Yeah, Google I.O. and Build were in a competition of which events you were going to go to last year.
Right. Now it looks like Microsoft has seeded the ground for Google I.O., let them go out and kick off the developer conference season, and it's going to come in second, I think, with this date, and then at WWDC probably the next week after. We got a bunch of sessions. It looks like the overall theme, as you could have guessed it, is AI. We will see if they actually do Windows here, as Windows fans and people of old school software, so to speak. We'd love to see them pay more attention here, but typically over the last 3 to 4 years, they've broken out Windows from Build and had a separate event for it. So maybe they'll do, some kind of Windows event in May, followed up with Build for developers and AI focused stuff in June. Maybe that's why they're setting the stage this much later. But we wanted to give you guys just a little bit of history on why they're leaving Seattle, a little context, I suppose. We wrote earlier, or mid last year, I want to say, after the summer, Microsoft cut its ties with the Seattle Convention Center in downtown Seattle due to safety concerns. They said that they didn't want the attendees to have to walk around people who were openly using drugs, unhoused, not necessarily crime as in a rising crime, but just harassment necessarily. So they're taking it to San Francisco. The other thing is that they have a lot of AI partners, OpenAI is in San Francisco, Anthropic, I believe, is up in San Francisco. So it's just going to be easier to get people who are going to, who are already up there working on this type of technology to come to the conference. It'll be easy. You don't have to have a plane ticket, although I'm sure some of these developers can afford to fly if they need to, or the companies will pay for it. But that's where they're going to be at this year. I don't know if they're going to do something where they move it around, which I think would be kind of cool. Move it to Austin, move it to Chicago a couple following years, or if they're just going to stay in San Francisco. They've done this before they went back to San Francisco before they went back to Seattle over the last few years, but they don't seem to be going back anytime soon. What are your thoughts on the developer conference?
We saw it coming. We covered this when it was mentioned shortly after Build of last year. Why not take it to different places? Give some of these smaller developers that don't have the budget to necessarily, book the hotel rooms, pay for the food, pay for the transportation. I'm okay with it being moved every few years. I would love, I'm going to be a stooge for a minute. I'd love to see it come to the East Coast. I'd go. Not that I can't fly to the West Coast, but the East Coast is a lot cheaper for me and a lot cheaper for you too. I would be glad. I would be glad to go. Now, there'll be some people say, well, Microsoft shouldn't, change it because the environment, that they should look past it. I understand that viewpoint, but I get why they're changing it too. Like you said, Anthropic is in San Francisco. OpenAI has an office there. What are we talking about right now? AI. That's where we're at. If we're talking about beaches and other things, maybe we need to go where you are. But
Well, and the
I
other
was
thing too
looking
that
at the
was
calendar
mentioned.
while you were talking.
Oh, okay.
I said I was looking at the calendar while you're talking. We're almost a quarter of the way through 2026. Kind of like you, I'm ready to see what Windows and Microsoft has got in store for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I was going to say though, the other thing you should be of note is that Microsoft's attendance is down for Build. I forget. I think they were projected to have, I think, 5,000 people attend last year, and I think they had a number of like 3,500 or something like seats sold or something whatnot. So I think they are one trying to save some money from not booking such a big place, and two seeing again if maybe travel might have been the issue. People in San Francisco didn't want to travel to Seattle, so you take it to them, and so your 4,000, $5,000, 5,000 seat event will actually get filled. So that could be another concern that they have, and a part of the reason why they're moving. That being said, we're going to move on to talking about developers. The result of what developers give us, which is the pixel drop. You put this on the docket. What do you got to say about it?
Yeah, yes, I did. I saw some interesting things in the Pixel docket, and we always, there's always talk about iOS and their new versions and all the new things that they're putting out. Let's not forget that the Pixels are out there too. They do what they call regular Pixel drops, and your Pixel drops are good for 7 years. Like, let me give you some examples of what we've got in the March Pixel drop. There's some cool and possibly some useful stuff in here. Apple TV casting. Let's just go ahead and start there. You can cast your Google phone to an Apple TV. Bet you didn't see that coming at any point in time, that those two would get along in that way. You've got an Android auto kid mode. Think about this. Kids in the back seat, throw your Android phone in auto kid mode. They can't get to your YouTube, your private messages. They get the educational games and the educational experience. The Find Hub. You can share tracker tags and locations with friends and family. Kind of sounds like, the Apple, what is it, Apple Locator or whatever it is that they use. That's a good feature people would like. You can have message mentions in your messaging, your Google Messages with your RCS by using your @ Like if I wanted to say @Kareem in a message, he would be included in that message. Some folks will appreciate that. I like that. Soundtrack generator right there on your phone. We got it in Gemini a couple weeks ago. We covered it, but you can describe a vibe and you can even get a photo with it, and it'll create a music vibe right there on your phone. This could be good. It's a little social gathering, social get-togethers. Give people something fun to do, something fun to play with. Let's see what else we got in here that's interesting. We've got the live translate in your headphones. I thought we already had this, but maybe we didn't. Real-time translation in over 70 languages, preserving the time and cadence of that language right there in your headphones. I like this for those that travel overseas. You can get that translation in your headset and not have to worry about other people hearing that around you. Now, there's a few other things in here, like gaming pages in the Play Store have been added. You've got a Google Play video preview, but I highlighted the big ones and the ones that I find interesting. And it feels like Google Pixel and Apple are continuing to slide closer together in their functions and their functionality, which is what they need to do, in my opinion. But as usual, Apple does it first. Google's kind of sliding in second on a couple of these things, but overall, good features.
Yeah, I think it's part of the, again, everyone will tell you that's the reason why you choose a Pixel over a Galaxy. Galaxy has a lot of hardware features, a bigger ecosystem, but when it comes down to it, if you just love the experience isolated on your phone, the Pixel offers more. It
It
just
does.
it does better at intuitive software features than Galaxy. And again, I'm not saying by a large margin. Galaxy's getting pretty intuitive themselves. It's just, again, if you're on the Android side, there are reasons that people love a Pixel. And it's these small little things, a little convenience, and good on them. It's a bigger drop than most monthly updates. Maybe they've been waiting to kind of drop us on everybody. I still have yet to go through all of them. I've been playing around with a couple of them, but yeah, it's been fun. That being said, let's get into the biggest news. I know you've been itching to talk about this since you are the resident Apple fanboy. We're going to talk about our MacBooks.
Yeah.
Do you want to do Pros, Airs, or do you want to do the Neo? I'll let you pick.
How about I do the Neo? Because that one is actually of interest to me, believe it or not.
Okay. I mean, they're all kind of bunched together, but I'll let you rant about the Neo, and I'll just go.
Let me rant for just a second. Let me find where I put the. Did I not put the Neo in the notes here? Where did I not put them?
You probably did not, but let's see. We can get some Neo information up here real quick. Because it was an interesting.
Let me see what we got here. What we do know, let me tell you what we do know. We do know that it's a 13-inch laptop. We do know that it comes in some pretty cool colors. But what is interesting here, and not interesting in the same sentence as I pull up apple.com to get all the deeds and details on this. It is powered by the A18 Pro chip.
Yeah, they're not using
when you hear that, no. And when you hear that, you kind of go, what? This thing is not going to be that great. Let's think this through. What's in your iPhone? You've got the A19, I believe, is in the new iPhones. The 18 was in the version before the 15 and 16. You've also got the A18 in that's what was in the iPads before we went to the M series. So, what have we been criticizing Apple for? Not being able to run Mac OS on an iPad. Guess what you're getting ready to do? You're getting ready to run Mac OS on iPad hardware in a laptop form factor.
Yes.
You've got two USB-C ports on the side. This is where Apple kind of lost me for a second. The front one is your USB-C port for your charging, your data out. Your second one is USB-C, but it's on the 3.0 standard, so you're only getting 480 megs out of that. So that would be where your mouse, keyboard, or maybe a webcam or your slower storage could go. So you've only got two ports, those ports on the left-hand side. You do not get a, what do they call it? Haptic feedback trackpad. It's a standard diving board click pad. For those that have tried it, they say it's not bad. You do get the Touch ID if you slide up $100 to the $699 model. Now your RAM, this is kind of the bad news, but it's the only bad news. Your RAM is limited to 8 gig. There is no 16 gig option. There is no way to upgrade it. So if you're already thinking I'm going to video edit on this thing, you might want to think again, might not be pulling that off too well. You're probably not going to be able to heavy duty multitask, but that's not where Apple's going with this. I like where Apple is going with this. You've got 16 hours of battery life stated. What the actual battery life is, we'll have to wait and see. These were put up for pre-order yesterday and are available for $599 for the lower model, $699 for the upper model with Touch ID and 512 gig of storage in the upper model. Those are available on the 11th, which is next week. So people will be able to get your hands on those, be able to see what they're all about. I think these are good little devices because I think in reality, this is what your students need. This is what your basic home productivity device could be. This could be your throw it on the couch device. This could be, I need to use a laptop while I'm watching TV or I'm enjoying a movie. And it's a good way to get into the Apple ecosystem and see if it's for you without having to jump all the way up there to the M5 and the M5 Pro and, drop $1,000. I like where this sits. It's got some interesting specs, some unique specs, but so did the Apple M1 iPad MacBook when it first came out. Look what it turned into. So hopefully this sells well, and we get a MacBook Neo 2 or Neo 3 or whatever, with better specs, with a better screen, and we see a resurgence of lower priced devices from Apple. This is the lowest they've ever been. I think there was a 12-inch MacBook. It was just called the MacBook a few years ago. That was really thin. It was under $1,000, but if you looked at it wrong, it would overheat and didn't perform very well. So I hope this does well for Apple.
I think this is going to do very well for Apple because I think it's going to replace the iPad.
Do you think we're going to get that far? I don't disagree, but I question if we'll get that far.
I think in ways, especially at schools, which is I think what they're aiming. A lot of people have been talking about aiming this for, because it's a, like you said, it's a $5.99, $4.99 for education. We have a lot of Chromebooks that are sitting around that came in at that price, around anywhere between $300 to $500, depending on which branding of Chromebook you got. Now they're all just kind of sitting around because everyone's bringing in their MacBooks, they're bringing in their low price Windows that can do a little bit more. While this chip is a very powerful mobile chip, we've seen what the iPads can do. You said, we're running
exactly
Mac OS on iPad hardware, which is, what everyone iPad silicon, which is what everyone's been thinking about until the M series showed up. That the A series has always been a very powerful mobile system. Again, this thing is fanless. If you're a parent or teacher or someone recommending a device, this is more sturdy. I know that iPads can have cases and, but if you can close this thing, you've now protected the screen, which is the key factor to a device. Their choice of aluminum was a little interesting. I know that they want the premium feel of this thing. Aluminum dents and bends pretty badly, which is why I think a lot of people use plastic. Plastic does break, but it's a little different than seeing the unsightly dents and bangs from dropping these things, which I think will happen. We'll see if, Apple switches to what is it? The carbonate. What is it? What were the polycarbonate? If they switch to that or something like that in order to keep the motor and stuff in the next version of this. But I think, if you're going to give a student a device, I would give them this. You don't need to have a special case. You don't need to buy the $200, $300, Magic Keyboard. You don't need to go to Amazon to buy, an attached case that hangs off the tablet sometimes and doesn't fold correctly. This thing has the keyboard connected to the screen itself. It's simplified, streamlined. That's what's going to be started handing out. And again, I think if you're as a parent, here you go. Here's your computer that does, FaceTime. It does. It has all your messaging on it. It has the stuff that connects to your phone. And it's the one device. I don't, need to buy all this extra accessories, things like that. I think that's where it's going to start to fold in. As far as Windows devices, I think it just, we always try to pit them based on price and functionality. I think it comes down to the operating system at the end of the day. That's the thing now. People who are comfortable with Windows can get a Windows device for this price and, maybe get a little bit more, maybe not. It doesn't, at this point, I don't think, whatever you're doing on a $500 device isn't very resource extensive. You're not content creating. You're not doing heavy loads of researching. You're not using a ton of AI. You're basically using this to triage email, maybe open up some documents that people send them to you. So, stuff that you can't view on your phone. So if I sent you like, hey, here's, the deed to your house, I need you to sign it or review it. You're not going to look at it on your phone. You're going to say, hey, let me open up my computer. But I don't need a ton of battery. I don't need a ton of memory. I just need a bigger screen to view this on. At the end, like I said, it comes down to which operating device or operating system do you enjoy doing these things on. And if you already have a device, again, people went out and bought a ton of Windows laptops during the pandemic. They will be up for, replacement. Again, computers are lasting pretty well these days. Software is getting more optimized. You can run Windows 11 on old devices. maybe in about 3 years, we'll see the numbers start to switch. People saying, all right, I'm done using this Windows device. Let me try this low cost Apple device as well, because I have an iPhone or I used an iPad at school or something like that. But I think it's gonna be great for Apple, for everyone who's like running to the heels of like, oh, this is the end of Windows, this is the end of Chromebooks. Let's slow down a little bit and see, if people even want. Because again, these aren't MacBooks. You got to make that clear. You got to understand that there are lots of features and lots of things that they cut out of these things. Like you said, the haptic trackpad's gone. The way the speakers are built, I mean, the sounds aren't going to be the same. You're not getting an M processor. You could buy an M1 MacBook. You could probably buy a used one for roughly, I think, $100 more and get more out of it. You get a bigger screen, you get better hardware. So, it's cool. I'm glad that they have this. I do want to see if they continue with this, if this isn't just another, hey, we did it for a year or two and then we got bored and we just streamlined everything, went back to the MacBook. Stick with it, Apple. It looks fun. Who knows? Maybe I'll be getting my daughters one of these in the next few years. The next story is actually their other devices, their MacBooks. We got the Pro and the Air got updated. We're going to kind of fly through these because not a lot changed. They got the M5 chip, so they got beefed up a little bit. The story here is, and I think this is part and parcel with the Neo, is that because the Neo is now part of the lineup, the Pro and the Air got bumped up about $100 or so. So, and that's
$100, but they each got more storage, so you kind of got that $100 give back to you in a good way.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the story of all of these devices in 2026, is that they're going to go up in price because RAM and storage are, in short supply these days, thanks to AI. Blame AI for this. But it should future-proof you. That's a good thing. And you don't necessarily have to have the headache of trying to decide, should I opt for this one or should I not? Apple's kind of making that choice for you, saying, all right, if you want this, you're going to need to cough up the money, buddy. Sorry. So I think design-wise, they're pretty much the same devices, speakers, all that kind of stuff. If you got ones without the fans, I believe, it's the same sort of situation. We also got the tablets, I think, were updated as well. iPad Air.
The iPad Air was updated.
Yeah. So they got the M4. They're one chip behind in the new iPad Air lineup. The phones got the A19, I believe. The 17E is the name of the new iPhone that they just talked about. That's their low budget, single camera, smaller phone, so to speak. But again, storage has been doubled down. So you go from 128 to 256 automatically. A19 chip. MagSafe is there on this device. It's got a tougher build. It uses a ceramic shield 2. And I think as far as the iPad, you have, again, like I said, we have the M4. Apple claims it's about 30% faster than the M3 version. Again, these are all supposed to be doing the heavy lifting of iPad OS 26 and iPhone OS 26, which I think I just downloaded on one of my test devices. Looks a lot the same, probably just a little more polished.
What he's telling you here, folks, is he's an under the table iPhone user.
I was gonna breeze right through that. I was hoping nobody noticed. You caught me. Dang it. Guilty as charged. The iPad Air support a Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 6, and they have a new N1 wireless chip for the cellular models. I don't know who buys a cellular iPad. They really don't. The 13-inch starts at $599. The 13-inch starts at $799, and pre-orders began about 2 days ago with availability in stores on the 11th. I believe that's for both the phone and the tablet. As far as the availability for the MacBooks, I think those are... they were, same. They were up for pre-order 2 days ago, available in stores on the 11th. The Pro, you get the Fusion architecture, which allows now for 18-core CPU, 6 super cores, and 12 efficiency cores. Again, also 30% faster than the M4, but it's supposed to be up to 2 times faster than the M1 Pro Max chips. So if you bought an M Pro 1 Max, you wasted your money. GPU cores have been also upgraded with 20 in Pro in the Pro model and 40 in the Max model. So there's an M5 Max chip out there. There's a new neural accelerator integrated in every GPU core, which gives about 4 times faster AI compute modes. Again, they're still using the unified memory architecture, which is how they're able to kind of, I think, max out at 64 gigabyte of memory for the M Pro and for the Max. And then there's a 48 gigabyte limit for the Pro. And they say you get up to 24 hour of battery life. I doubt that, especially if you're going to be using this thing to the max. You have 12 megapixel cameras, which supports center stage, 6 speaker setup, and the colors that they offer are the same. I think space black and silver for the Pro lineups. They keep it very boring. And then there's the Air, which let me see the specs for that. You get it with the options. The storage is increased to about 512 gigabytes. You can also customize up to 4 terabytes if you're willing to pay for that. The baseline, like my partner said, it starts at 16 gigabytes for memory, which can also, with options up to 32. You need 24 and 32. They also have the baseline M5, which has a 10-core CPU, 8-core GPU, and the neural accelerator as well. It also has Wi-Fi 7, but it only has Bluetooth 5 for some reason. You get 2 Thunderbolt ports, just like you would on this Neo as well. And the MacBook.
And it's worth noting that those are Thunderbolt 5 ports that support
Correct.
2 displays.
Yeah, they finally got around that. Their M5 was bottlenecked for a while. You get a 12 megapixel center stage camera array. This one, they're saying the Air lasts up to 18 hours, and you get 13 and 15 inch variants. Starting price is about $1,000. Again, like we said, up about $100 from the M4 models. And they have the same availability. They start on March 4th and in store on the 11th.